Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to talk about it again. They're just so cool! Thank you to our final patrons, Redwolf4765, Midnight Gemlord, and Sean. And a very big thank you to our $25 patron, Alex Ice Rose. Now, if you're having this breakdown / discussion on how the Spirit Spears are just so stupidly cool, please remember to leave your own on the Spirit Spears in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, hit that little notification bell to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. It's for as low as $1 a month, and exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, let's hop into the discussion. What's up, guys? All the Pencil here, and yes, the Spirit Spears, the weapons of the Fairy Kings, are probably, like, unironically, top 5 weapons in fiction, at least from the fiction I've read. Obviously, there are way, like, stronger, better, faster, juicier weapons, and, you know, like, if you count the Omnitrix as a weapon, it's way better than Spirit Spears. But still, in terms of 7 deadly sins, like, there's nothing better. There's nothing better. Like, even the worst Spirit Spear probably blows out the next best weapon. What's the next best weapon after the Spirit Spears and 7 deadly sins? I'd say Lost Vein? Maybe? I mean, Truce, all you Bond fans out there, if you want to argue that. But, like, Rita's way too brittle, dog. Rita don't do enough. Lost Vein at least gives you clones. Truce, it gives you a physical amp. What else? What other weapons are there, really, that really give you that special sauce like that? Nothing like the Spirit Spears, though. So the Spirit Spears, right? If you were to ask me, or no, not even ask me, if you were to tell me that there was a weapon that was simultaneously like 10 other weapons, and you didn't even have to hold it, and you could kind of just float around on it, and or float it around, and or it's a teddy bear, and or it's like literally everything you could ever want, but like in a spear form, I wouldn't believe you. Like, it just sounds like a weird concept. But like, Nakaba put it upon himself to slam all those ideas together in his brain and say, you know what, we gonna do that. And then Chastiful Basquios, and what is his called? Even Darren Hart is really cracked when you think about it. Let's go over the weakest one first. Obviously, it's Darren Hart. Like, there's no real competition. It has the least amount of form shown, the least amount of versatility shown. It's kind of bully meat compared to its competition, but it's still an inarguably better weapon than pretty much everything else we've seen. Just increase alone. The fact that it can turn into not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, however many drills that it can just turn into. You know, on command, it can just, and then you're being drowned in pieces of metal. Just the basic spear form is neat. Especially with Dahlia, Sir Gaines himself, the true muscle monster of the verse, the real muscle man. He can just throw it at you, and it can do a whole ton of damage. And that's not like he needs to throw it at you. He can also just control it. A free-form weapon that can reform itself even after being damaged, he can just throw around for the fun of it, for the memes, for the Doritos, if you will. Guardian, we don't actually see his Guardian form that much. All he has is like a tiny little monkey. I don't know, that thing probably solos your favorite verse anyway. So don't sleep on Curious George to be sitting on his shoulder like that. It may just be him. And then Sunflower, he just has Sunflower. Like, it's such a weird thing for Dahlia too, especially as a physically based fairy. Like, almost every other thing that he has, I can kind of see the usage for it. Like, even Increase, I can definitely see Dahlia like grabbing some of the Increase spears and like pitching them at you. But I'm not sure. He just has Sunflower, which is a gigantic massive projectile that can fire gigantic massive projectiles. Like, it's just a big old plant that fires sun from a flower. I don't know. It's just really solid, and it's super dumb cool. And then obviously you have the armor, Yggdra blades. I love Yggdra. You know, the Yggdrasil from Norse mythology. I still need to play Ragnarok. I watched the whole Let's Play of it, but I finally got it. I need to play Ragnarok. But regardless, with that being the case, his armor is also really cool. And notably, it does presumably provide a buff to him, but it's unquantifiable. But give me the armor, and I'll at least be like Mike Tyson level, and I would greatly appreciate that. And that's just 5 abilities. 5 abilities that he has from his spear alone. And he doesn't even like it. Like, we gotta realize, bro's a physical tank. He don't even like to use the spear. He considers the spear a handicap. He's like, you know, I keep it around on me because it was forged for me. My dad made it for me. My mom made it for me. My dom made it for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to use it. And, you know, I like the armor and stuff like that. You know, it lets me get my gains up. You know, I'm jacking it. I'm juicing right now. Big juicing. But it really ain't for me. Let's go to the 2 people who actually like their Spirit Spears and how stupid they are. Obviously, you know, I got to go to the second best one. Chastityful. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. See, the thing is, like, I can't even lie to myself. As much as I love Basquios, I can't even pretend to be like, Basquios is better than Chastityful. So we have to talk about Basquios. And Basquios is Basquios cracked. Like, come on now. So the thing about Basquios that I really, really like about it is that due to the fact that it's the original Spirit Spear, it is like the most strangely primal out of all of them. Like, you can tell it's an ancient weapon just by how it looks. The basic spear form looks amazing in the manga. The anime, I'm a bit mixed on how they do it. I think the bright gold doesn't serve it all too well, but in the manga, the way it's twisted, mangled, sharpened to a point, it really feels like this I was about to say unworthy. It's totally worthy, but this insane beast of a weapon, just on a design front. And obviously the fact that it can just turn into a gigantic laser beam on its first form alone. Like, you can just straight throw it at somebody and it'll be like, bazaar! And then it won't just bazaar, it'll also ba-boom! It creates a massive explosion. Like, what? Nakaba, what were you cooking? like legitimately. Nakaba, what even crossed your mind to make it like that? I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Furthest thing from it. Good sir, you will not, in this environment, you will not hear me say I'm mad. But I am just bamboozled, ghastly blown away by the fact that that's the first form only. First form only. And you know how Dahlia, he kind of had a lack in Guardian. You know, like a Guardian, it was it was neat. You know, it was kind of cool. It was kind of buttery. You know, a little monkey man. You know, Curious George up on the shoulder real quick. You know, he'd be posted up. Yeah, you know, Gloxinia has a gigantic, like, hornet or guardian insect, and it just, like, stabs you. Like, like, notably, in comparison to the second guardian, which was a tiny little monkey that we never get to see the full size from. It presumably would just grow into, like, a full-size ape or something like that, or a gigantic monkey. Maybe, like, a great ape kind of thing, if Dahlia were to use it to its full potential. And, you know, King, he gets the little teddy bear, but no, Gloxinia with Basquios. You know what he does? He just absolutely whips out, slams on the table a massive hornet insect that will proceed to stab you and then paralyze you for stabbing you. So you can't even block it. Like, unless you got a weapon on you, you can't even block it. Because if you block it with any part of your body, bada bing, bada boom, you can't use that part of your body anymore. That's a free GG. What? That's bonkers. That's bonkers. And he's got armor too. The armor. And you know what? It's very specifically impressive on Gloxinia and King, and, you know, mainly Gloxinia, because, you know, Gloxinia does it better. I'm sorry, I think he's still my favorite fairy. Like, despite King having, like, a whole proper character arc, I think Gloxinia, I'm sorry, I love saying it like that. I think he still is my favorite fairy, but, like, the armor does him so good, dog. And notably, I'm not a guy who rocks with power levels, I think I've made that clear, but I just find it so hilarious that King and Gloxinia have a 0 power level in terms of strength, but when they slide on that armor, when they get that good sauce on them, he was smacking around Meliodas post-druid. That's kind of crazy. To imagine going from unable to harm a fly, realistically, with your physicals, to smacking around a guy who, at a low ball, we are lowballing drastically, at a low ball could wipe a town off the map. Realistically, it's way, way, way worse than that, but, you know, we lowbone, the verse peaks at island level, if that, you know, large mountain, really, because, you know, creating realms and creating oceans and, you know, creating entire separate spaces and hypothetical time spaces, yeah, obviously that's just something else. That's got to be mountain level at max. But with that being the case, the fact that he has armor that looks that saucy too, once again, just keeping up the whole primal, original aesthetic. The spear itself in first form looks really, really ancient and almost like legendary, which works. It's the first Fairy King spear. The Guardian is not this cute cuddly creature. No, it's this massive hornet insect that paralyzes you. Love that. The armor in comparison to King's, and even in comparison to Gloxinia, is in the comparison to Gloxinia's armor in comparison to Gloxinia, but Gloxinia's armor in comparison to Dahlia's and King's, it's not that refined. It's not that clean cut. It's this like almost carapace with these sharp claws, these twisted horns, and I love it. It just looks so cool. Like, Nakaba really popped off with the designs. Like, for all of the, okay, Darren Hart, I have a little bit mixed design on the design front, but still, for all the Spirit Spears and the Fairy Kings, he kind of went nutty in terms of designing them. And then we have, like, inarguably the best healing ability in the series. Okay, that's a lie. Elizabeth. Like, Goddess Healing is really, really stupid. I'll talk about that in its own video. But the fact that it has Moonrose, the droplet of life, that beautiful. We don't know if this could fire something. Hypothetically, it could fire something. But then again, he already has the beam with the first form, so he doesn't need it. But he has Inochi no Shizuku, aka the droplet of life. Let me quote this directly. A droplet from the moon rose is shown to heal even the most grievous of wounds. Gloxinia can only use this technique a certain number of times in a row, after which it cannot be used for a certain while. Which is admittedly a little bit whack, don't get me wrong. I do think the fact that he has limited uses of it is kind of stupid. I mean, I'm not necessarily stupid. I think it should just be reliant on his magic like everything else. But the fact that he can run out of that is a little bit wacky, a little bit silly. But I love how it's used, though. And I love how characters react to being healed. Especially Gloxinia when he uses it on himself. The way he, like, steams and his body like cracks back into place. I love it. Once again, keeping that whole primal aesthetic, that primal feel. I love it. It's so juicy. And then of course you just have Deaththorn. It just kills you. Like, when I first I still remember reading Seven Deadly Sins for the first time, and Gloxinia was like, oh wow, there are so many ants and insects scurrying around the labyrinth. Let's fix that. And he just grinned and proceeded to wipe out the entire population of people with one attack. They proceeded to reach across the entire labyrinth that was dwarfing giants. Brody, like, I'm telling you, Gloxinia has that, like, ancient energy to him. I get it. He's a really nice guy. But at the same time, bro has some of the most violent, vile, despicable, disgusting attacks ever. And let's not even talk about the final form. But of course we have to. Form 10, Emerald Octo. Bro just has tentacles. He's just surrounded by tentacles. These tentacles can pierce through a human body. Like, what? What? Basquiat is crazy. It's so crazy. Like, legitimately, even though I know it would be inarguably suboptimal, give me Basquiat. With just the forms it's shown, you would just see me walking around with just tentacles. I would just be flying around in my little tentacle chair. I would be like a bootleg Brainiac. Instead of sitting in a chair, no, not Brainiac. I'd be a bootleg, what's that new god's name from DC? The Mobius chair. Like, I'd be my own bootleg little Mobius chair. I'd just be constantly surrounded by Form 10 and then randomly switching to the other forms. Bruh, it is so fun. You would literally just see me flying around. Like, I would treat Basquiat like a surfboard, bro. Imagine I'm just flying at you and suddenly I'm like, beam! And bada bing, bada boom, there's a massive beam. But obviously, you know the real one we gotta talk about. The top one. The one that became cracked after King became cracked. We gotta talk about Chastival. So the thing is, Chastival is pretty much just the two other spirit spears, but like better in every way. Like, it's just straight up not even, the only thing you get from the other spirit spears that you don't get with Chastival is nothing from Darenhart. Like, Darenhart has nothing, but I can't blame it. It was a movie only spirit spear, and even if Dahlia shows up in Four Knights, based on the rate that we're seeing certain characters, it's not going to be for long enough that we're going to get more out of them. So realistically, being completely honest, indubitably honest, Chastival has an unfair advantage, but the only thing you get from the other one is Basquiat specifically, you get instant healing with Droplet of Life. Notably, you don't get that from Chastival. That's just not there. You have a very good substitute, don't get me wrong, but you do not get the instant healing. So that may be the one thing that one of the other Spirit Spear has, but in every other way, Chastival's just better. Form 1, it literally just does every other thing the other Form 1s can do. Realistically, we don't know if it can turn into a beam and then a massive explosion, but still, it's likely because King doesn't seem like that kind of dude to do that, so I could definitely see it doing just that. Form 2, Guardian. Now, admittedly, already, Guardian was pretty cracked. Like, when it popped up in the beginning of the series and it held back casually restrained Bon on its own, while not being awakened or anything, no, just a regular Guardian could restrain Bon, who at the time was probably either the second or third strongest character we had ever even encountered in the series up to that point. Definitely third. Diane is physically stronger, and Meliodas is confirmed to be physically strong. But still, the third physically strongest character we've seen in a show full of powerhouses, and this goofy little teddy bear can just casually... No. That's a little bit bonkers if you ask me. Top that off with the fact that when it got awakened, it became this massive buff thing that also could just manhandle other creatures. What? A little bit insane, a little bit bonkers. This thing was out here blocking hits from not three, I think it was 2. Was it 3 or 2? Yeah, by 3 commandment Mael. It was eating hits from that. Kind of well. Then Nakaba just decided to make it disgusting. Like, it's legitimately I think it's literally the only form of the spirit spears that I have a mixed opinion on, or that I just flat out don't like. I think the multi-art teddy bear is pretty disgusting. Like, disgusting on an aesthetic front and disgusting on a power front. Like, legitimately, this is the thing that was mollywhopping 4 commandment Mael. Like, Brody had almost a fourth of the Demon King's raw power, and it was getting slapped up by this multi-armed teddy bear. What? This thing was cracked. And then we had the form that was so broken that Nakaba only used it twice and then tried to make us forget about it. Fossilization is stupid. Like, we got to realize how stupid this thing is. You don't have to necessarily get someone all the way through. Like, when Bon got it through the combination of 2 forms, which is crazy to think about, he could combine fossilization with the Guardian. Wild. But when he did it to Bon, he stabbed him all the way through. But remember, he just sliced the other guy. He didn't, like, stab through that one guy's arm to turn him to stone. No, he just casually cut him, just a little nick, and bada bing, bada boom, you were turned to stone. He had to get his arm cut off to make sure the rest of him wasn't turned to stone. What? A free ability to just turn anybody to stone by cutting them. Even if someone's way higher than you in AP, they better be ready to sacrifice a limb if you hit them, if you nick them. That is absolutely insane. Then you have Sunflower. It is literally just a Kamehameha wave. Like, it is straight up a DBZ attack. Nakaba thought he was slick, that he could slide the Masenko into 7 Deadly Sins and we wouldn't notice, but we did. That massive beam of light is crazy. Admittedly, I think it actually was a bit crazier in its second stage, like in Tiny Wings King form. When it was like that massive, gigantic sunflower with all those vines coming out from the side that he could control individually, I think that was a little bit better than the one we see, but notably, we haven't got to see the full power sunflower. The only reason we didn't get to see it is because King wasn't trying to absolutely annihilate the entire area. Like, he was specifically aiming for the original demon. So it's entirely possible that Sunflower could just be way bigger than what we see in its awakened state. And also, King was very far away, and he wasn't used to using that power. So we haven't seen what Sunflower could really do, but Sunflower on its own, even in its second stage, indubitably cracked. And then you have Increase, which already started off broken. Like, a bunch of little knives, kind of crazy. But its final stage, where you just have full-on, like, 4-foot swords flying at you, a straight-up wall of metal. I'm sorry, what? You just get this whole wall of metal being like, hi! Why? Like, Nakaba, what were you cooking, dog? And then you just get a flashlight. No reason. You just get a flashlight. Because you can. It's always nice to have a flashlight. Like, what doesn't this thing do? It's such to the point where even Nakaba himself, through Meliodas, is like, wow, King, your spirit spear, your sacred treasure can do anything, can it? It literally can. I bet this thing could probably make me breakfast, lunch, and dinner if I ordered it too. The Guardian, I bet it's the best chef ever. Then you have Pollen Garden, which admittedly is the only thing, like, if I could swap out one, but then again, it's still a good thing. Because the thing is, Pollen Garden is a barrier that immediately shuts down all pain you're feeling and starts to heal you. Like, legitimately, you could just sit in Pollen Garden while you're controlling a second Spirit Spear, which is something King can do. You can control a second Spirit Spear while sitting in Pollen Garden. Sure, the Pollen Garden and your Spirit Spear that you're controlling are not going to be as powerful, but King was palling around with 4 Spirit Spears, even though they all lost efficiency, and still slapping up 4 Commandment Mael. So you are not at a loss for power if you just have 2 out. Or at least not an extreme enough one that it could actually matter. So sitting inside something that negates all pain, meaning you'd have a consistent, clear mind, and slowly heals you, is really, really good. Really, really good. A little bit too good. Like, legitimately, this thing is stupid. Like, unbelievably stupid. And, of course, you still have the armor. It's not as cool looking as either of the other armors to me. Like, I think maybe if we see it in 4 Knights and we have, like, full-grown Wings King with the armor, maybe it'll look better. I don't know. I was never necessarily a fan of this armor. But still, it's armor with blades that take King from, like, I'm not going to say fodder, but fodder physically, to actually, you know, being in danger or something. Mael's like, wait a second, hold on. I cannot be doing this illusion mess. We gonna ring this bell. And he did. And then bada bing, bada boom, King got slapped. So the armor doesn't necessarily have any good feats, but still, like, come on now. Come on, bruh. That is biggity bonkers. Biggity bonkers. And top that off with the fact that he has Seeds of Awakening, which can just knock away any sort of mind-affecting magic. It can just undo it. because why not? Like, these spirit spears are so cool. They're so cool. They're stupid. They're unbelievably stupid in all the best ways, and I love them, and they're wonderful. But Naka, but please, give me one. Give me one. Like legitimately, I have lost faith now. Someone, get me a Basquiat. I just want the thing. And like, not like a replica. No, give me the actual Basquiat, because it's that cool. Alright, that's what I think about the Spirit Spears. Tell me what you guys think about the Spirit Spears in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notifications bell to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below. Use both result as one down month. And exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also, now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dahlia Pencil, writing off.